Hey guys, we're back. So, like I said, we're gonna be doing a Jibber Jabber episode of State of the Empire after the Reichland campaign has been finished. Similar how we done with State of the Lizardmen and War's faction in the Mortal Emperor's Greenskins back when. We're gonna be talking in depth about the faction.
We must
So we'll start, say a couple of words about the factions here. The factions of the Empire. So there is Karl Franz and there is Volkmar the Grim leading Reichland. Volkmar the Grim is completely overshadowed by Karl Franz. His faction effects and kinda irrelevant, really. 20% more chance to find items. This is kind of cool, having a scouting on top of scouting. But the buff for the flagellants, recruit ranks for the warrior priests, reload upping for the flagellants. The whole flagellant flavor is bare bones. The fact these units begin on tier 3, it's what totally breaks Volkmar. Flagellants should probably be a tier 1 unit, especially starting as Volkmar. So totally overshadowed by Karl Franz here. We'll talk more about what's the issue with Flagellants when we end the game. Just saying that he's overshadowed by Karl Franz. Karl Franz not only has more powerful faction effects, primarily the lower recruit rank, better diplomacy to the rest of the Empire, more campaign movement range for all lords. This alone is better than everything Volkmar has. And you're gonna unlock Volkmar anyways. Since they renamed the faction from the Empire into Reichland, there's really no point Volkmar being part of this faction, or let alone, picking him over Karl Franz. The flavor just doesn't work anymore. Tier 3 flagellants and bonus experience is just out of control for the melee defense, which makes this unit not good past like turn 50 already.
Bring me to my men.
We have Gelt leading the Golden Order. I haven't not personally played with him with the Golden Order yet, but we played with Gelt many times. He's a powerful harasser, damage dealer. Gelt used to be the top pick as starting lord for the Empire because of plus 10 armor for all units. Makes the super state troopers even more super, especially the garrisons. Armor on top of armor. So early game with the Gelt plus 10 armor and then additional plus 15 armor from technology. And then Gelt buffs additional armor in his army. Really powerful stuff. Makes the regular soldiers of the Empire all armored. Extra capacity of battle wizard, cheaper battle wizards, great stuff, really. Great stuff. Gelt getting his own faction made total sense, and this is great. Like I said, I have not personally played it, but there is a campaign gonna be planned. This is just amazing. Faction and Gelt leading it was the right move. And then we have the Hans Marshall expedition, which was also a great addition to the game. Flavor and starting position in the Lastria. Fighting totally different early game enemies than what Empire is used to. This is just a great addition to the game. This faction is not just only a lot of fun, but it has some unique stuff. The heroes from the other factions. We can have some ridiculous range capabilities as well, with various buffs plus the Master Engineer. One of the wishes I have is to make Volkmar leader of Hochland or Ostland. Make him start in one of those two cities, leading his own faction. He just doesn't really fit in Reichland, and like I said, he's totally overshadowed. There's an issue with the fate part of the Empire, but we'll talk more about this in the game.
Summon the Elector Counts.
Let's just load the campaign that we have here that we just finished. Volkmar is a strong lord. He just doesn't fit into Reichland. He should be a separate faction. His faction effects are just the weaker choice. You don't even use flagellants with Volkmar, just go with a regular army. So, this is the Empire campaign we just finished. Clear the chaos in a couple of clicks. So, let's just talk with a couple of issues about the Empire so far. We have had some time now with the new reworked Empire. And it's been a great addition to the game, but it brought issues. Let's begin with the issue of Marienburg. So Marienburg is not part of the elector count system. You cannot really influence it. You cannot confederate them, and there is no option in diplomacy for the regular diplomacy, like their faction is not part of the Empire. No joint war, no defensive alliance, no military alliance. But the AI Reichland can confederate Marienburg, and the AI Marienburg can offer player Reichland alliances. So the game kinda pushes you to attack them or hope they're gonna give you military alliance later on. It's a little bit off. If they don't not part of the elector count system, there should be an event to maybe put them back into the Empire, or they should be just like any other faction. Have available alliances, join war. It's just so off. It's a little bit polishing requiring here. That's for all the lore doesn't matter here. They can be both part of the elector count system and not part of the elector count system. It doesn't fit in the first system, it doesn't fit in the second system. This is just an oversight. It's clearly an oversight because how the AI Marienburg behaves. Why is this an oversight? Further confirms the short campaign victory conditions, which are beyond absurd. What you need for a short campaign victory. They added Solent into the Empire, separated them out of the Wiesenland, but the Solent is not on the list of the Empire. While the Wasteland, which is no longer part of the Empire, that's your lore, is on the victory list. Another oversight, this needs to be fixed. This Wasteland should be replaced by Solent, and the Wasteland should, this Marienburg should behave like any other faction in diplomacy towards the rest of the Empire. They are not part of the Empire, they should not be part of their system, and they should be part of their system. They haven't really decided. What is it? Solent is missing, and Marienburg is still here, pretending to be part of the Empire where they are not part of the Empire. So, this is the first issue. The other issue here is this improved relations, decrease relations. This decrease relation has almost like no effect. It's you don't even have to consider using this in any reason really whatsoever, considering how the fealty system works. So the issue is the lack of diplomacy options with the rest of the Empire. So you cannot sign defensive alliance, you cannot sign military alliance. You are the Empire, they are the Empire, they answer to you, you manage them. And it's almost like a ally without the ally benefits. No joint war here kind of makes sense, but the fact that you cannot ally them, there is no replenishment. So another issue here is how do you even replenish in the early stage of the game when you can actually work together with with the rest of the Empire to fight various factions? Well, military access should provide replenishment in this case. It should be unique for the Empire. If you have military access with another Empire faction, it should provide replenishment. It makes sense. They allow your troops to pass. Military access should provide replenishment. There's another issue with this. The threshold for the treaties should be lower. For some reason, it's beyond absurd how much relations is required to get even the basic diplomacy going with these factions. So that's another problem here. On top of that, this decrystallation, instead of this decrystallations suggestion issue, this should be to invite them to war. You should use this thing here to invite them to war with another faction, depending on what faction that is, what's the relations between them. It should be a sum of influence, sum of prestige. So there's another issue here. Another issue with this system is the events for defense. When the Skaven or the Beastmen are attacking, a random lord is taken from the pool. They can even take one of your existing lords, a lord that is named, lord that is not immortal, and that lord disappears. That lord just disappears, never to be seen again. On top of this, there's an issue that sometimes that army actually becomes even bugged. The initial lord disappears, and then you have to pick another lord, and then it becomes your army, which doesn't disappear after. There is even a sound once the event is finished, the lord dying, like he died. What the hell is up with this? This is extremely lazy, unpolished, and makes no sense. Why is the random lords being taken from the pool to lead those armies? Why do you have to pay for them? Why you do not keep control of them? Why are they disappearing? Why are they dying? It just really needs some polish regarding that. Another thing with this is the remaining factions. Sometimes they stay on the map. They don't even disappear. So that's another issue. Other than that, not really that much. You know, the system is pretty good now that the vampires are actually somewhat a threat. This system is working better than before, when they can actually challenge your authority, where you have to act a little bit faster on helping them, dealing with them, so the red stuff doesn't pile up. So the system does work other than these issues. It'll just require a little bit more polishing. The Empire does not face many challenges. Technology make diplomacy with the right factions way too easy, and warring the enemies even easier, to the point where even the broken balance of power becomes, you know, a normal thing in your favor. The Empire does not really face the threat anymore from Norska, which used to be one of the main threats, and the chaos is just so sad, so sad. You know, just thinking about the chaos, I can start crying. The Vampire threat early game seems to be, you know, much better. There's a chances of the Dark Elves taking over Ultuan and the Dwarves losing to Greenskins or the Skaven, so the Empire has to deal with more or help these factions a bit more. Norska has to be made threatening again. Norska is pretty much the only faction that makes sense, that can challenge the Empire together with the Vampires in the beginning. So the suggestion here would be that Norska really prioritizes the top of the Empire, but ignores the bottom of the Empire until the top of the Empire has been destroyed. So Norska not being threatened to the Empire is causing a huge imbalance here. The Empire is one of the most overpowered AI factions in the game. The technologies for the diplomacy and anti-faction technologies are overpowered for the player, broken for the AI, broken. When they get going, these technologies just the balance of power and the results of the battles are so one-sided towards the Empire, nobody even stands chance. It's like the only one who can challenge the Empire is pretty much the dwarves. If you have some kind of worse timeline where the dwarves go to war with the Empire. So if the Empire actually managed to overcome the early game obstacles, which are not that many, like I said, since Norska is doing nothing. Norska is really bad factions. It's probably the worst AI factions after the Beastmen to challenge the campaign. The chaos in general is in such a poor state, is just upsetting the balance of the campaign. The Ortide is not a problem as it used to be. but they can still go crazy, really crazy, and primary reason is this part of technologies. So this is kind of like issue with the game and suggestion. This kind of technologies could be lowered by 20, 30, 30, 30, they don't have to be this high. This just makes the campaign too easy. You can always use economy to even further this diplomacy. They usually only deal with you because you deal with their enemies, which are the enemies of the Empire. These technologies have to be nerfed. They're just breaking the game. 10% leadership, 10 melee defense when fighting against Greenskins, Skaven, and Lizardmen. This is out of control. It's just killing the balance of power in the game and making the AI Empire out of control. This should be +5, +5, +5, +5, +5, +5, and +5, +5. Go with there. Make it 5-5. See how it goes from there. Since we are already on technology tree, this part of technology tree is quite overpowered. The infantry side is very strong. Makes the state troops easier to manage than ever. The cavalry side is okay. The cavalry is a weak part of the campaign. The Emperor does have demigryphs, so they shine with cavalry. The technologies for the cavalry are okay. The war machines technologies here is another issue. Another issue here. War machines. Buffs artillery, artillery, artillery. Not many buffs for the war machines at all. And this is what the war machines get. 8% missile resistance. Cue the Spanish guy. This is one of the reasons the war wagons are underwhelming and not worth it in the campaign. The devs introduced such a nice, cool unit, which should be performing, should be doing good, but they're not. Even after the buff, they're not worth it. There are much better units to use. So make the war machines technologies buff all the war machines, war wagons, steam tanks, even the luminarchs. This has been way out of hand for the longest time. These technologies have been nerfed. They have been nerfed since the rework, and they are still not buffing steam tanks or the war wagons. Another thing that could be done, the missiles technologies could buff war wagons, and the war machines technologies could buff war wagons, mortars, and the Black Lions, which is the Hellblaster version. But they should be buffing the steam tanks, mobile artillery, and the Luminarch. There's like no reason for these technologies not to buff it. Missile technologies are pretty good, pretty much almost as good as the infantry technologies. And trade and industry, imperial colleges, really nothing much to say, just all good stuff. All good stuff. The Empire does not have the replenishment technologies, but they do not need it because of the Warrior Priest. The Warrior Priest is a really important part of the Empire and the Empire armies, which provides replenishment, so they don't really need a replenishment technologies. They also have replenishment followers. The Empire has very strong replenishment, they don't really need replenishment technologies. So the war machines technologies should be applying to the war machines, and these things need to be toned down, making player campaigns trivial and the AI campaigns broken, especially if you're playing some of the evil factions on the other side of the world. Let's talk about the Empire heroes here. So Empire has the Battle Wizards, which are pretty much amazing. Probably the best Empire unit, the Battle Wizards. They're so critical to the Empire strategy with the rest of their armies, and they get access to so much power. Other than the issues with pretty much what all lores face, the Death Lore being underwhelming, there's like Battle Wizard just good. It's a flying wizard that can instantly equip items. That can use Helm of Discord. It has access to a lot of power reserve. Just amazing hero. Like I said, probably the best unit of the Empire is the Battle Wizard. If I had to pick the best unit of the Empire, it would be between a Battle Wizard and a Warrior Priest. That's how good these heroes are. So not much to say about Battle Wizard, just amazing. The Death Wizard is also missing missile resistance, but you know they'll be probably patching for a couple of years. The Warrior Priests is just this is just no words how useful and powerful this hero is. It's just they just made it crazy levels powerful since they added armor to it, since they added AoE prayers. It completely overshadows the Empire Captain, which has zero flavor. The Warrior Priests is just unreal how good it is. One of the best things in the Empire. You could get disciplined, doesn't matter, disciplined, cunning, weapon master, strong, all good stuff. You get look at these stats here. Look at these stats, and without even getting ward save or physical resistance on the items, this thing is out of control. You have a Hammer of Sigmar, gives attack to himself and the nearby units, can go even with cavalry, makes any infantry deadly. Shield of Fate, himself and nearby units 22% ward save, just toughness. Add healing on top of this and you get extremely resilient melee units. Melee actually works thanks to the Warrior Priests and the healing. Soul Fire, some bombardment, piles up damage over time. This is not just a support unit but also a tank unit. Tank unit which is easily kept alive. So not only ward save here, but there is also ward save here for himself only. Just incredibly useful unit, one of the best things the Empire have. On top of all this support, you can equip items like Helm of Discord, one of the Rune Fangs for another AoE buff, another AoE buff, another AoE buff. In the right hands, Miracle Worker. Warrior Priests and Miracle Workers in the right hands. And like I said, they do provide the replenishment for the army, so you're going to put a Warrior Priest in every single army. That's how good they are. And that is the only really good part of the Fate from the Empire in this campaign. Rework and before, bare bones. Fate part of the Empire is bare bones. You got Warrior Priests and you got Archlectors. We'll talk about the Lords a little bit, but talking about heroes now. Since I mentioned why the Fate is the bare bones, we'll continue here. The worship building. You guys know me, I complain about this shit every single time. This is so lazy, bare bones building. This is we're gonna go back to Volkmar, issue with his flagellants, issue with the Fate of the Empire. They just... The Fate doesn't exist. They have Archlector, Warrior Priest, Volkmar, and Flagellants, and that's it. That's the whole Fate part of the Empire. It's completely bare bones. Ever since they moved the Witch Hunter to the hostelry building, the tier 4 and tier 5 building of the worship building has become pointless. The only reason to build it is in the Middenheim, to get extra couple of ranks when you're gonna be recruiting a really high rank Warrior Priest thanks to the Cult of Ulrich building. The Untainted it provides on tier 3 is gonna be enough. 6 Untainted, and on tier 3 you get capacity. Not on tier 4 or tier 5, you get everything you need on tier 3. The issue with this is Flagellants are also tier 3, which is the problem with the Volkmar as well. The Flagellants should honestly be a tier 1 unit. If not for all of the Empire, for Volkmar faction. The worship building should have 5 tiers, starting from tier 1 with the Flagellants, and it should provide various bonuses throughout the campaign for the Flagellants, faction-wide effects possibly, recruitment bonuses, maybe even armor, attack, defense. Make the worship part, Fate part of the Empire mean something. If you ask me, the way they did Everest unique units, this should be done for the worship building of the Empire. Each of these, starting from tier 3, 4, and 5, it should give powerful elite units that unlocks capacity on these buildings. Exactly the same as the Everest unique units, but on the worship building here. They definitely have material they can take for these units, but flagellants, they gotta be tier 1 unit. Just worship building tier 1. What the hell is the point of these units? It can be completely ignored. Ever since they buffed technologies, rework technologies for the Empire, since the swordsman just, there's no need to recruit flagellants ever. The swordsmen do get their job. They do their job. They get massive bonuses from these technologies. Since this has been reworked, the one of the top picks always is going to be the Emperor's finest. Flagellants are relevant. Just get swordsmen, you get shields, you get armor, and you get decent performance. They can be kept alive by the warrior priest, other heroes, other supports. They're irrelevant. Honestly, what is this? A multiplayer unit? Same like the tier 1 spearmen, multiplayer units. So this has to be reworked. The whole worship part of the Empire is bare bones. Continuing with the heroes is we have the Empire Captain, completely forgotten. Another bare bones bare bones thing. There's like no flavor to this character, no flavor whatsoever.
I trust no man.
Warhammer 1 hero. This is it. No flavor whatsoever. You gotta hold the line. You can do without, and then you have flying, which is to make this guy do anything in battle. You have to equip him with powerful items, and it's still not good enough. The paladins got reworked diff buffs with anti-large, better stats, wows. Paladins are basically super paladins. Paladins are one of the strongest heroes in the game. What happened to the Empire Captains? Left in the dust with poor stats. No flavor. No flavor whatsoever. The only reason to use the Emperor Captain, assault garrison, assault units, spy on the campaign map. This is just really sad. His counterpart, the Lord version, the General of the Empire, it's the same shit.
The Empire.
Same shit. Instead of having Cap the Pegasus of flying, has the Imperial Griffin, so they can fly. Completely irrelevant unless they have powerful items. This is not going to be good enough. General Empire is a little bit better because he has a Griffin, not just Pegasus, and that's it. No flavor. No flavor. This is the worst Lord of the Empire. You can just ignore it. Don't even recruit it. Make a statement. Don't recruit it. Maybe they buff it. No unique skills. No flavor. Just ignore it. The last hero is the Witch Hunter, which is decent in battle. So
The nation calls.
it can be decent in battle even without the items, but it's micro intensive. So depending how much micro you put on the Witch Hunter in the battle, it's gonna be his performance. The thing with the Witch Hunter is they're just amazing on the campaign map. They're a rogue hero, like a Goblin Big Boss, so you got block army, assassinate, damage walls, cleanse corruption. They're just so good on the campaign map that you don't even want to consider putting them in the army unless you want a little bit of flavor. The scavenge ability, it provides it by Witch Hunter, same as the training of the captain. It brings you really next to nothing. The post-battle multipliers are way too low to be relevant. Witch Hunter to be considered more in the army. I feel like this magic resistance should be for his whole army. For his whole army. It could be lower than 10% of course, but has to be a reason to put this thing in the army and not just forcing yourself. Yet another campaign has passed and I have not put Witch Hunter in my army. So there's like just no reason to put Witch Hunter in the army. And if for these heroes to be good, especially if you want to just send them in, just keep them idle, fire at will, they also have to have good gear, which makes it even worse. The items are limited. So it's not bad and well, but it's not great either. Should have better bonus for the army, maybe some army effect. All the campaign maps, they're just incredible. And this is it for the heroes. You get two really amazing heroes, and you get one really bad hero. Just if the Emperor Captain is removed from the game, you wouldn't even really feel it that much, honestly. Well, Witch Hunter is just credible for the campaign map. Regarding the lords, got the Archlector, General of the Empire, and Huntsman General. We already mentioned General of the Empire, ignore list. Well, the Archlector is basically a lord version of the Warrior Priest, which is just incredible. Incredible. Amazing at tanking and providing bonuses to the army. Even better than the hero version, because these buffs they're stronger versions. So this is that flavor I'm talking about. Where is this line of skills on the Emperor Captain, Witch Hunter, General of the Empire? Where is this line of skills? There's a lot of things missing, and you can't just keep bare bones core characters. It does have the flavor for the Flagellants, and the Flagellants, you know, are not that good past a certain point. But playing Archlector, playing Volkmar, you don't play with Flagellants. You just make a regular army with massive supports. These abilities are so powerful, so useful for the army, making the halberdiers work, great swords work, cavalry work. It's just incredible at supporting the army. While the other lord is just the General of the Empire is not good enough. The Huntsman General, it does have some benefits.
Huntsman General.
It has the 3 unique skills, unlike the other guys. Does not have a mount, but it has a powerful range attack, and even have a hold line archer. Has nice bonuses for halberdiers or the great swords, make them even better at their role. If you want to be using Huntsman, you definitely consider Huntsman General. Even if you're not gonna be using Huntsman, the Survival Expert, which gives him extra campaign movement range and replenishment, this skill is good enough for this guy to be considered, you know, picked. And just fire at will gives him enough to, you know, you can just put him on the side and he'll just shoot. So not only these 3 skills, but he has actually extra skills on top of that. On top of his melee line, which has different abilities as well. So it has flavor, it has some good skills. It can be considered as an option. Personally, I just prefer the Archlectors. I do sometimes recruit the Huntsman General if I feel like it, but the Archlectors are so powerful that overshadows just the General of the Empire, which has no flavor whatsoever. And the Huntsman General, unless I decide to get some Huntsmen, or I really need the replenishment, the Archlector will always be my pick. That's it for the lords. Let's talk about units a bit. Well, not much to say about the units. The units all are pretty good. There is only just issue with technologies regarding the war machines, honestly. One thing I would like to see, this is, you know, part of the wishes, I would like to see Emperor Knights on tier 2. Emperor Knights on tier 2. There is no reason to keep this in the tier 3. So I would like to see Emperor Knights on the stables. And that's pretty much it. Sometimes getting the stables on the in the beginning, you get some pistoliers and you get some emperor. You could get some emperor knights as well. You know, fast armored unit. You know, could be useful in the early game, first 30-40 turns. But the fact this is tier 3, not only this building is not worth it because it's expensive to build, especially in the early part of the game. This costs you 5,000, 2,500. So you have to pay 7,500 gold, take a precious tier 3 slot in the early game to get a mediocre unit like the multiple knights, I mean emperor knights. Is just not good enough for a tier 3 unit, and the fact this building costs 5,000 makes them unusable. Really unusable in the campaign. On top of that, you even need the smithy building. Which makes it even worse. The Emperor Knights should really be on the tier 2. Really not much to say about regarding the rest of the units. We already said about the Flagellants should be tier 1 on a worship tier 1 building. This building should be 5 tiers, and this should be on a tier 1. These units are also just not good enough. The swordsmen are tier 1 and they outperform the Flagellants. And you don't even have to waste any of the points to build a Flagellants which you're not going to use later in the game. Emperor has one of the strongest garrisons in the game. It has one of the best units in the game, which are the handgunners, and multitude of buffs regarding for the garrisons. Another thing that can be said about buildings here, there is a couple of things that could be improved here. The Battle Wizard building is a tier 3, which gives capacity for the Battle Wizards. It's a little bit too easy to unlock the Battle Wizards, and a tier 5 building doesn't do anything. Same issue as the Cathedral. In Aldorf, you have the Aldorf Colleges of Magic, which is basically the same exact building, just instead of 1 and 4, it's 3 and 7. You can build this on top of this, so you get additional Battle Wizard and 4 more ranks of Battle Wizards. Battle Wizard is so incredible for the Empire that it's really good to keep 2 of them in every army. You could just go with a Jade Wizard, but 2 Battle Wizards in the army, 1 support, 1 damage is usually the way to go. So this building doesn't do anything on tier 5 because this building exists. This building gives 7 ranks to the Battle Wizards, which means you're going to be recruiting all your wizards in Aldorf. Just how it's gonna be. And you're going to build this just to get 4 more ranks of the wizards. So why is that building a problematic? Because you build this one, you get a wizard, and the notifications ask you to upgrade this every time you have the money. And this building doesn't give you anything. You will not wanna be building this building elsewhere. So the only reason to build this building, other than getting extra in Aldorf, is to get rid of those notifications. Because there is no exempt for notifications to tell you that you don't want to upgrade this building. There could be another icon. You see how there is an icon here? There could be another icon here for the notification quality of life, which you click. The game does not ignore this building for regarding notifications. Please, please, we need it. Please, devs, just put another icon here. Exempt this building from asking notifications, so you don't have to upgrade shitty buildings like the Wizard Tower or the Cathedral of Sigmar. Luminarch, like I said, Reichland, all your recruitment goes here, and Aldorf College's Magic already unlocks Luminarch. You're always gonna build this. This is one of the best buildings the Emperor has. You're really gonna be recruiting Luminarchs outside Reichland? I don't think so. This building really needs to do more. Suggestion is to give it some kind of income, plus 5% more income, 10% more income. Give it just something else. Luminarch in the garrison. Luminarch in the garrison. Imagine that. Rocket science. Add Luminarch in the garrison together with the wizard, and all of a sudden, holy shit, I might want to put Luminag in the garrison here. Maybe some research rate. More magic to all armies, like +2 power reserve to all armies. Make this building relevant. Same for the Cathedral of Sigmar. They're just not relevant outside the natural choices of Aldorf and Middenheim. Other buildings, it's pretty good. Can't really complain about the other buildings. Can't really complain. You have the Castle Reisgar for the flavor. Could have been tier 3, but fine on tier 4, why not? Can't really complain about the other buildings. The armor is too expensive, yeah. That's another thing could be done. Armory, the blacksmith and armory got put from tier 4 and tier 3 to tier 3 and tier 2, and the price has not been adjusted. The blacksmith is still a bit too pricey for the early game. Armory as well. This building should be a bit cheaper. I think that's it. Regarding building, I think that's it. There's a issue with a couple of issues with regarding that's not been patched. The heroic knightly band affects the local province instead of faction wide, like pretty much everything that's been updated. This should be faction wide, so you can actually consider this skill. All these skills on the legendary lords especially should be faction wide, but this one here as well. It's inconvenient to even consider having this guy around to recruit a hero. So stuff like this should be faction wide. I mean, this thing is all provinces. This thing is local. There's clearly even now 2 teams doing this work. So I think that does it for the buildings. Not much can be really said down here. The Empire has a really powerful economy, some of the most powerful economy in the game. They had access to the order tide trade, so they can do massive income. Look at that, 23,000 trade income. Been doing over 35,000 income only 20 turns ago. It's just massive income. We went through the technologies, heroes, lords. Did we go with the skills? Okay, let's go with the skills. Other than this issue here with the faction wide, nothing really much there. There's campaign skills which are still Warhammer 1. They patched the greenskins for the Renowned and Feared. They did not patch the Empire. Headhunter is still here. No Renowned and Feared. Their battle skills are really powerful, really complement their early game and all the units pretty much in general. The only battle skill which is a little bit weaker is the Speed of Horse, because this unit's a little bit underwhelming, because cavalry is a little bit underwhelming in the campaign, especially if it's not a strong cavalry unit, like in Empire case Demigryphs. So these are not very good technologies. These are armored cavalry units, and the Speed of Horse give them additional armor. Why not attack? The Mighty Forge is buffing the war machines, but with the worst possible buffs. The reload time reduction is not good enough for the war wagons, which always shoot too fast, run out of armor too fast. They need damage, they need armor, they don't really need the reload time reduction. Steam Tank and Luminag don't need either as they get experience. So Mighty Forge is a little bit weaker for the war wagons, but they still get a good buff because it's a both range and melee unit. Except the war wagon does not need the reload time, it just makes it worse. They usually target the same entity and they just keep firing there and just waste a lot of ammo. So Speed of Horse is a bit weak. Armor could have been attack. Mighty Forge is, you know, good enough. Not good enough for the war wagons. For the steam tanks, Illuminax is pretty good. And nothing much to say here really. Nothing much to say here. The Emperor Knights not being part of Taste of Battle, you're not even gonna get Emperor Knights to rank 7, so it's kinda irrelevant. The Strength to Hardship is kinda an irrelevant skill. If it gets removed from the game, would not matter at all. The battle skills are really strong. The Imperial Gunnery, Artillery Master, Sharpshooter, Pistol Core are some of the strongest battle skills in the game, and they complement this faction amazingly. Not renowned and feared, you know, it's like the only thing the Empire pretty much needs to update. Reichsguard are Taser Bell, which is a very strong battle skill. Landmarks, we don't really have to go into the landmarks. There's so many of them. Some of them are really bad, like the Karburg landmark, Knights Chapter, Knights Panther Chapter House. A tier 3 one that allows the recruitment of Emperor Knights, but you still need blacksmith in a minor settlement. What in the shit? Tier 3. This is one of the worst landmarks in the game. The one in Mordheim here is also tier 3, super overpriced and barely does anything. This is a super weak effect for an extreme price of 15,000. 15. Untainted +1 all regions, that's okay. Local untainted just provinces, it's kinda irrelevant for that price. It's ridiculous. You get untainted from heroes, you get untainted from the commandment, you get untainted from the tier 3 worship building, you get untainted here, you get untainted from the followers. The Empire that did not need another untainted source. This is just really lazy, a little lazy, I have to say. There's various landmarks all around, some are really bad and just badly adjusted. Did we miss something? Victory condition, you know, the short campaign victory. This is like a lot of factions suffer from this. Waiting for Archaeon for a short campaign victory is absurd. They should be removed from the short campaign victory of every faction. Lords, heroes, issues, units, buildings. I think we said everything. Empire is a very strong faction. Just some polish is required. State troops. Nothing much to be said about the state troops. It just makes the Empire even more powerful than they are. You know, everything come here with just their usual problems. The Emperor Knights being Emperor Knights. Some of these units are quite powerful. Not much to say about this. It's just very strong. We talked already about everything, I think. Emperor is one of my favorite factions, and those issues we were talking at the start of the video, you know, it's a little bit bothering me. But we completed this campaign without a safeguard option. For some reason, the safeguard option for the Empire is more often than the other factions. This makes me happy. There's a smile on my face that we actually complete this campaign without issues. And we might be doing a long campaign with the Empire, maybe even this year. Yeah, we talked about this. Unless you guys think there's something else to talk about, I think that's done for the State of the Empire. They're really powerful, kind of overpowered, honestly, both for the player and the AI, with some issues and lack of polish. This is gonna be it, boys, for the day. I'll see you tomorrow. We'll continue with that Clan Muros Madness. Good night.